Hey guys, you've finished your proposals. Maybe you've had some time to start gathering your sources. Maybe you've even already cited them in EasyBib. Now it's time to start your annotations. An annotation is a paragraph about each source. And on your Weebly page, you will find this annotated bibliography checklist that kind of overviews for you all of the things that you need to do for this annotated bibliography. First, you need to have 10 different sources cited. They'll end up in alphabetical order in APA format, and each one will have basically a paragraph, a good solid paragraph, 5 to 8 sentences with the annotation. So each annotation, each paragraph let's say, has to include a summary, an evaluation, and a reflection. All of those 3 parts have to be present within each annotation. So the first one is summary. What are the main points? What are the main arguments? What's covered in this article or book or whatever source you're looking at? The second part is evaluation. This is where you're thinking about the credibility of the source. Who's the author? What organization is publishing it? Is it current? Does it seem to be accurate? Does it include facts, or is it just biased? All of those things that we've talked about back all the way to 9th grade when you guys were doing website evaluation, those are the things you're going to need to be thinking about here as you're writing your annotation for your article. And the last piece of your paragraph is going to be reflection. How am I going to plan to use this source in my paper? What from here can I gather and take that will be useful in my paper? What subtopics that I am covering in my paper does this source address? Or why isn't it going to be applicable to me, my research? Maybe after I read the article here and considered it, I realized that it really doesn't answer my question or relate to what I'm doing, or it's not reliable or current enough, so I cannot use it. That would be what you would explain in the reflection. So I will say that not all 10 sources that you include in your annotated bibliography have to be useful. You could say, hey, this one's not useful. I don't want this one. Also on the Weebly, you will find an annotated bibliography sample in APA format. So you can take a close look at it to get an example of what exactly you're going to do as you write your paragraphs. So for example, this one is, in an effort to prevent unwanted teenage pregnancies, high schools should be legally permitted to distribute contraceptives to interested teenagers without parental permission. As you can see, you have your citation here for this book that obviously addresses this question somewhat. And then you have your annotation below. I just color-coded it. You don't need to, but I just color-coded it so that you can see the 3 parts: the summary, the evaluation, and the reflection. Here in the summary area, I know it's difficult to read here. You can open it on the Weebly if you like. But here in the summary area, it's basically just talking about current proposals that require teenagers to notify their parents or secure parental consent before seeking contraception from clinics, buying it from stores, or getting emergency contraception. And it talks about federal family planning programs. So it's giving an overview. Then over here, the person who wrote this annotation is talking about how this is biased, and they realize it's biased, but they include facts and statistics like Supreme Court cases, so they feel a little more comfortable using the source in that it has something valuable to offer them. And then lastly, this portion here is the reflection, and they're talking about they can use many of the points and statistics that are included and the court cases, so they're addressing here what from the article they plan to use. Okay, so now if this were an annotation that you had written, you can copy it from your Word document and you can go into EasyBib. You can find the source that you gathered the information from, and you can click on the Edit button. Now when you're in edit mode, at the bottom it will say Add Annotation. And you just get a little box and you paste in your annotation. Now I would suggest that you type in Word and copy and paste into here, only because Word offers spell check and grammar check and EasyBib does not. So then you'll click Update Citation. It'll include it there in your list of sources. And later when you go to export as a Word document to print out your annotated bibliography, you will see that it will look something like this. So you have your sources, and then after each source you will have your paragraph. Now notice this one starts on the same line. If you want to, you can put it on a new line. But it really doesn't matter. You're not going to get points deducted for the formatting of the citation, well, the annotation within the citation. So if you want to leave it like this, you can. You will want to put your name on this, obviously, before you submit it. Now, one thing I will mention is that you are required to submit one annotation first before you move on, because we want to be sure that you're on the right track with the summary, evaluation, and reflection. After you've completed and had that first one approved, you can go on and do the other 9 and submit the other 9 at the end. So by the end, at least 10 sources cited, even if some of them end up being things that you won't plan on using for your notes. Please ask if you have any questions.